Welcome back to the Spartan Investor Conference 2025 in New York City. I'm Jane King. You're watching Idea Exchange. And with me is John Lai, the CEO of PetVivo. Great to have you here. And explain PetVivo. What's the company doing?
It's always a pleasure to see you, Jane. So PetVivo, we developed a protein particle matrix that mimics cartilage and tissue. It's a very effective tool in the management of osteoarthritis, lameness, and rehab. So our first product is called Spring with OsteoCushion technology. It actually mimics cartilage and tissue once it's injected into the joint. Upon injection, it forms a scaffolding that mimics the cartilage that's there, but beyond that, it starts to migrate to the outer synovium, looks for defects within the synovium, particles integrate into the synovium, and the body absorbs it as naturally its own. So we provide long-term joint health, which is quite unique in the industry. Everyone in the industry focuses on masking the symptoms. NSAIDs are all about masking pain, Librela, Solensia, it's blocking the pain to the brain. Yeah. So we're actually providing the long-term joint health, which actually in longer terms protects the joint and prevents further damage of the cartilage or helps prolong the cartilage use. Because all the other ones, actually, when you mask the pain, you increase the likelihood of the dog running and jumping and creating a problem with that area. Okay. And then our second product is Precise PRP. It's an allergenic product, and what that means is you don't have to draw from the original horse animal. It's right off the shelf. We can inject any horse or any dog if it's designed for that category. So we have one for horses and one for dogs. We guarantee a much higher platelet count. Also, we're the only product that's FDA reviewed for safety. Okay. All the other PRPs are not required to do that. We're not required, but we took the extra step. Also, we have the much highest platelet count, and we save the veterinary doctors on average about 30 minutes of drawing blood from the host animal to spin it in the centrifuge. And you know, when you spin in the centrifuge, that's when there's possibilities of errors and stuff happening. So we're providing a great convenience, and they don't have to spend about $10,000 on the actual centrifuge equipment.
Okay. And your treatments are for horses, dogs,
and cats.
And cats. Okay, so those are the three animals.
Well, we have had parrots get injected, exotic birds. We have had billy goats. We have had white Siberian tigers. Okay. So pretty much any mammal.
Okay. And I guess you don't need FDA approval for each animal. You just get it for...
Well, the key was we did human studies first. And because the human part of the FDA declared these particles as a human medical device, we got automatic clearance in the animal side. Okay. Because the human studies are much more stringent. Okay. We were able to show there was no chemical response in the humans. There was no elevated beta or alpha cells. That means the body treated it purely as neutral. So when you have a neutral product going in, that means you can't do any harm.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. And everything's natural. I know you and I have talked about this before. It's all like natural, so there's less rejection, right? Of the
well, hopefully there's zero. That's why we got the human. Okay. But you know, as you know, nothing's zero. Yeah. Somebody taking an aspirin could die from an aspirin. But it was to the satisfaction of the FDA that the adverse events were like non-existent in our human studies. And the good thing is all the particles are naturally derived. They're all sourced right here in the United States. You know, the protein is collagen and elastin. The collagen is from a secured herd right here. Actually, we get ours from Iowa, but there's 5 other secured herds. And then our heparin, you know, you can get it from Baxter or any of the major manufacturers. And the secret sauce is where you know how to put it together, where it creates a scaffold once it's injected into the joint. Other people have tried that, and when they compress the particles turn to powder. With ours, when you compress it, it stays wet and lubricious, and that's how you get the long-term lubrication of the joint.
Okay. Well, and we have talked before about the length of time.
Yeah.
This sometimes lasts for years, right?
Correct. But we tell the public it lasts at least a year.
Okay.
And, that kind of leads in why it takes a while to get large corporate accounts.
Mm.
A couple weeks ago, we announced a partnership with VGP, which is Veterinary Growth Practices. There are over 7,300 member veterinary clinics, and the head vet have been using the product probably over 2 years. They reached out and said, we're comfortable now having you present to all of our clinics, and we'll help promote it and push it to all these clinics' use, because they're totally convinced that the product works and it's good for long term. And when one of your claims is longevity, the only way to prove that claim is to actually have it in animals for a period of
And
time.
that just takes time.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You have a new board member.
Correct.
Uh-huh.
Josh Rubin, very strong, extensive background in human healthcare. He was at Wells Fargo as a director of investment banking. He was at RBC Securities, which is a top 5 investment banking firm. His expertise was human healthcare. He was global head for devices and diagnostics. So now he's a partner at Trinity Capital, which does investments in human therapies. They fund millions of dollars for phase 3 human clinicals.
Okay.
So he joined our board a little over a week ago. I think that adds a lot of validation to some of the studies we've been seeing. I know we talked about the University of Connecticut in the past. They've been doing animal studies with our particle and their electric nanofibers. They're regenerating cartilage in small and large animals. So we feel comfortable, if that progression continues, that maybe in 9 months we can start human studies. And the human market for joint replacements is like $33 billion a year.
Huge.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and a lot of people, for health reasons like being obese or age, cannot do a hip replacement or a knee replacement because they're too old to rehab. This is a very viable solution for them to inject, so we could prolong the need for joint replacement or maybe even eliminate it. And that was one of the interesting posts we got on LinkedIn. University of Connecticut president was so excited that she, after talking to their own scientists, made a comment on her own personal LinkedIn page that we are working on an injection that could eliminate the need of all joint replacements, which was she was overly excited. It's very good that they feel that way, and we feel the science is leading that way, but until it's there, it's not there.
Right. And then your veterinary group practices. So explain that program.
So the senior vet there has been using Spring for over 2 years, and recently RACE, which is the organization that accreditates your presentations for continuing veterinary education. Vets have to take so many credits, review every year to keep their license. Well, I think they approved like 4 different courses to get credits. So they came to us and said, okay, we're very comfortable now. We're going to push your accreditation to all of our vets, and we want your vets to do Zoom calls on showing advancements in intra-articular injections for osteoarthritis, lameness, and rehab, all the stuff we do. So we want your vets to introduce, and we want to introduce the product to our vet groups. And they've got over 7,300 clinics.
Okay. How can somebody follow PetVivo?
So you can go to our website, www.petvivo.com, and it seems like we have new developments every week. I just got a new deck put together, and then I've been told that we just announced something today. I had to do a Reg FD filing on an 8K of another new deck because we had a new page. So I just presented with the old deck, and an hour later it was outdated. So that's a good way to follow and look at the deck.
Okay. You keep up to date with the company that way. So John, thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
Okay, and thank you as well for joining us on Idea Exchange. We'll be back with some more interviews.